Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alison, the online piano and the online violin tutor. Now this is part 2 of last week's video about why you might want to give up the violin, or why people want to give up the violin and how not to, reasons to remedy not to want to give up the violin. Before we do go into this video, I just want to tell you something very quickly. So I want to let you know about my online music store, which has a wide range of teaching material and courses for violin, which will allow you to be able to learn to play the violin from complete scratch all the way to an intermediate level. Or if you can already play the violin at a basic level, you can still jump into the course and it will get you to an intermediate level guaranteed. My violin course has been written so it is very easy to understand and learn, with interactive videos from me embedded within the digital course, which is like having your own kind of personal violin tutor in the room there with you. The course is priced at $59.99 US and contains everything, absolutely everything you will need to get going. All you'll need is your actual violin and bow, and the course is 100% downloadable. There is nothing physical to ship out. As soon as you pay, you can download it, and it is available to everyone, anywhere, wherever you are in the world. My course absolutely guarantees to take you from a complete beginner violinist to a very decent, accomplished intermediate player. Okay, so carrying on from the previous videos, part 1 of this. Problem 5, financial constraints. Violins and related equipment can be expensive, as we all know. Maintaining and upgrading the instrument, purchasing accessories, paying for lessons or classes can become financially burdensome for some people, making them considering having to give up. Now the answer to this is, if you invest wisely initially, there shouldn't really be anything more to pay. Music is found online nowadays and not so much in books. I've got a lot of paper books and a lot of them were, oh my word, they were so expensive. You know, I mean, I've paid £20, £30 before, which would be like paying up to $50 for a book, sometimes even more depending on what they are. So your best bet is to get a lot of online music. Everything is online for a reason. It's quick, it's cheap, it's easy, and it's downloadable. So if you play your cards right and you invest correctly, all you need to buy is a violin. Buy something decent, don't buy anything cheap. The old saying, buy cheap, buy twice. If you can't afford a violin, then rent it to get yourself going, see if you're going to like it. But buy yourself a decent violin. And then once you've done that, you can purchase something like my online course, which I mentioned at the start of this video. I have a 1 to 30 violin course, which is designed for you guys out there on the internet. It's a culmination of my 25 years of teaching. That course is 100% downloadable to anyone in the world, wherever you are, no exceptions, and it is priced at $59.99 US. So once you've purchased it, that course is yours to keep, and that's it. It contains fully interactive videos, so it feels like you've got me in the room there with you. If you want any more of me, obviously, or not, as the choice may go. But you've got the option of having that, and it's a one-time payment. So the violin, the course, and then that's it. You don't really need any other accessories. I mean, you don't really even need to buy a music stand. You can just have your music placed on a desk if you want to. So there are ways around all of this. For example, I also have a Patreon page, which is $5 subscription per month, which you can cancel at any time, and on that page I upload weekly sheet music. So there are nearly, I want to say there's over 800 pieces of sheet music in that back catalogue of music. So for $5 a month, you can get access to instantly 800 sheets of violin sheet music, along with a whole bunch of backing tracks. There's some easy piano music in there as well. There's some blogs, there's a few other bits and bobs. So, you know, where else can you get over 800 sheets of violin music for $5? And that is continually added to each month as well. So there's always a ways around it. The initial outlay, I'd say, is with the actual instrument itself. But if you are spending your time, your effort, you know, you're putting your everything into learning the violin, time is just as expensive these days as a violin. Yes, time doesn't have any kind of physical monetary value to it, but time is money, as people say. So if you're going to be spending your valuable gold dust time on it, do yourself a favor and get a decent instrument with it. Get yourself a course, and that's pretty much everything that you need to be off and away. Okay, problem number 6, performance anxiety. Now this might, not really sort of apply to everyone, but performance anxiety. So for some individuals, the pressure of performing in front of others can cause significant anxiety and stress, obviously. So if this anxiety becomes overwhelming, it may lead them to reconsider continuing with the violin. Answer: don't play to people. don't play the violin thinking you're going to be playing in front of everyone. If you do not want to play in front of anyone, do not play in front of anyone. If you just want to play in front of you and the dog, play in front of you and the dog, and that's it. Do not put yourself under the stress of playing in front of anyone. If you want to use playing in front of people as a deadline, for example, something that, I want to learn this piece here and I want to give myself a deadline because I'm just not practicing enough, so if I put myself in front of people, I'm going to have to practice. By all means do that. If you do not want to play in front of people, do not do it. I put 99% of my students through exams. It's just something that I did, and it's just something that we do in the UK specifically as well. But there were the odd one or two throughout my years of teaching who really didn't want to do it, and that was absolutely fine. I never once forced anybody to do anything. I would very strongly encourage them. I was very good at convincing people to do things. But, ultimately, in all seriousness, if they didn't want to do it, they didn't want to do it. And I took that away from them because I would just find that they just wouldn't practice. They'd become so stressed. They'd be worried that I was going to sneak them into an exam or anything like that. So, we didn't do any of that. But the one compromise we did do to keep me happy and them happy was that I would take them through the exam. So I would take them through everything they needed to learn for whatever equivalent level exam I would have put them on to take the physical exam at the end of that, and we would work through that. And then sometimes we would even do an exam just with me and them. So when the student came for their lesson, I would be the examiner. I was actually examiner for a number of years for the London College of Music here in the UK. So I could sort of do it unofficially, officially, if you like, for them. So I knew how to mark and all this, that and the other. So we would sort of do pretend exams with me and them, just to sort of make the whole thing worthwhile. But they were a lot less anxious about it because it was just me. So that was my compromise with that. But if you are feeling like playing in front of people is a fate worse than death, or you just want to eat the violin instead, just don't. I mean, if you feel like it's just not worth it, playing in front of people it's just not going to happen, then don't do it. Take that stress off your plate and then just enjoy playing the violin. Job done. Problem 7, physical discomfort or pain. Again, this isn't going to apply to everybody, but playing the violin requires proper technique and posture. If someone experiences persistent discomfort or pain while playing, such as muscle strain or joint pain, they may find it challenging to continue without risking injury. So the answer to this is that it can be a real issue for some, and I know it can because some of you have actually commented underneath. But there are usually workarounds such as repositioning of the instrument, shorter practice sessions, etc., etc. I mean, I can't really be specific on this video because I'm not honing in on any one specific injury or anything like that. But if you've got a neck injury, then it's going to be hard for you to sort of hold the violin. Maybe a shoulder rest might be better with that. If you've got shoulder issues, again, see if you can try and work around that. You can put some pad underneath it, some sponge, a shoulder rest. I don't use a shoulder rest, but maybe using one of them or not using one of them, for example. If you have arthritis in your fingers, finding as closer to a good bow hold as possible. I mean, if you sort of have to hold it a little bit more round and gripped, then so be it. Nobody's here coming for you, and nobody's judging you, so don't worry about that. But there are always workarounds. You're not aiming to be a professional musician at this stage, so it doesn't really matter as long as you can create a good sound for yourself, and you've got a good professional foundation and a good basics, and you are learning it as close to perfect as you possibly can, then that's obviously fine. But just try and find the workaround. If there's something you really want to do, you'll do it, but do it safely and try and find some workarounds. And the last problem 8, lack of support or guidance. So a supportive learning environment is crucial for progress and motivation. If someone feels isolated, lacks access to quality instruction, or doesn't have a supportive community or mentor to guide them, they may feel discouraged and consider giving up. And this is probably true of those of you that are out there on the internet on your own learning. You don't have access to a private teacher or anything. So if you feel quite strongly about this and this is you, maybe a real teacher is going to be something that you need rather than online. They are interactive with me, you know, and when I conduct my video lessons as part of my 1 to 30 violin course, I'm talking to you in those videos like I'm talking to you now, exactly as I would talk to a student in the a student in the room. I'm just not obviously physically responding to anything that you're saying to me because I can't hear you. So, you know, if you feel like you just need something a bit more, then maybe a real teacher is going to be for you. The other thing that you can do is, if you cannot get a teacher for whatever reason, and say you are following an online course like mine, for example, then maybe going out and finding something like some chamber orchestras, string orchestras, bands, any kind of get together. You know, there's lots of where people live these days, there's lots of local communities that or groups on Facebook, depending on, you know, the housing estate or the area or whatever it is that you're living. Get yourself into kind of that sort of environment if you can, so that you don't feel completely isolated when you are learning at home, especially if you're following an online course, for example. It's also a good place where you can just let your hair down, meet some other people, and maybe just learn some different techniques from them. That kind of thing isn't going to interfere with what you're learning, whether you've got a private teacher already or you're following one person's course. Going to those kind of weekly, once a week group sessions or community sessions, whatever it is that you're doing, those aren't going to be detrimental to any of the learning that you're going to be doing. It's just, you know, it's just a bit of fun, but it's a way just to play with other people and just talk to other like-minded people, so that you don't feel like you don't have anything to kind of work towards. And also with the I think it was problem number 6, I think it was, performance anxiety, it's a lot less stress inducing if you're playing with a group of people for a concert or in front of other people than if you're playing solo and on your own. And playing for family is like the worst, because family are very judgmental and they don't tend to have filters on their mouth as well, so they tend to say what they want to say, don't they? But other than that, you know what I mean. But if you're playing in a group of people, then playing on stage with a group of people is more fun than it is stress and anxiety inducing. So I hope you've enjoyed these 2 videos. Thank you very much for watching. The links to my online course will be directly underneath this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.